What made the Harry Potter design team sew up all the robe's pockets? Who decided to change the color of Hermione's Yule Ball dress? What secret material made Voldemort's costume look so otherworldly? And how was Alan Rickman convinced to wear Neville's grandmother's outfit? Hey, my name is Joy. Let's start.
Every year we think, oh, maybe they can use that again. And every year we look at them and we think, oh, they grew.
To all the robes I've worn before. Do you remember any precise descriptions of the Hogwarts school uniform in the first Harry Potter book? We don't. Actually, J.K. Rowling never mentioned students wearing anything specific apart from their robes. It was Judianna Makovsky, the first costume designer for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, who decided to add the famous wizard's uniform, inspired by the traditional British uniforms of fancy boarding schools like Eton College. However, with the specific Hogwarts house colours. Those uniforms gave the whole costume team a little more work than expected. Tom Felton, the actor who plays Draco Malfoy, had a bad habit of stuffing his robe's pockets with chocolates and sweets between takes.
And I remember they used to melt and they get stuck in there and then they shouted at me and they got sweets banned from set because of me.
Well, quite a Malfoyan way to behave. As a result, the team had to take drastic measures and sewed all the pockets shut. What can we say? Draco Malfoy was relentless to the end. For the second film, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Lindy Hemming succeeded Judianna Makovsky as the costume designer. She brought a colourful Rococo style to Gilderoy Lockhart and created Lucius Malfoy's dark aristocratic outfit. Have you ever paid attention to his snake brooches? He had them long before Voldemort returned. Stay with us to find out more about the baddies. We'll come back to this topic. Finally, from the third film onwards, Jenny Tamim, who also worked on the newest James Bond films, took charge of the costume designs until the saga's finale. Muggle Clothes time. Starting from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Jenny decided to make the saga less childish and put a darker spin on things. She was definitely on the same page as Alfonso Cuarón, the director of the fourth movie, well known for his dystopian atmospheres. As a result, the saga got a totally new tone, which was a brutal shift for some fans used to more Christmas Carol-like adaptations. However, J.K. Rowling herself confessed this was her personal favourite from the series. So, how did these changes affect the dress code? The characters became more relatable. They wore hoodies and sweaters outside of class. After all, they were teenagers. Tamim confessed to in style, "I thought that they should look normal, that they should look like normal kids. I wanted a real feel. I wanted to make Harry Potter not a little story that you read in bed, but something real." Bravo, Jenny. Apart from making wizards' robes more glamorous with their silk ties, she also worked on the Quidditch outfits to give them a more rugby-like look. Yes, the filmmakers faced the challenge of turning Quidditch into a real sport that could be exciting to watch. So Jenny thought of adding leather pieces and making the Quidditch robes way lighter. The sports gear looked fairly impressive. Then came the names and the numbers of the players in the films. Finally, the players started wearing knee pads and helmets to reflect the violent nature of Quidditch. All dolled up. The fourth Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire film had a lot of costumes. 100 extra designers were recruited specifically to create the 300 outfits for the Yule Ball, including that pink dress.
When I was younger, I just so wanted to just get out of these awful clothes that Hermione wore.
It's a pink chiffon gown with the tiered skirts turning a deeper shade of pink with each layer. What a crucial outfit for Hermione. In fact, it was the first time anyone had seen her in dress robes. Oh yes, and should I even mention who suddenly realised Hermione was a girl and not one of the boys? So that dress was strategically important. It took about 3 months and almost 12 meters of chiffon to make the magic happen. Well, at least it didn't need 12 duplicates for the stand-ins and stunt doubles like her costume in the Deathly Hallows. Surprisingly, in J.K. Rowling's books, Hermione's described as regularly dressed in periwinkle blue. But in the movies, Emma Watson is very often dressed in pink or purple. Why so? Firstly, blue is not a colour that suits the actress very well, and secondly, it's not the best match for the colour palette used in the Harry Potter films. All in all, Hermione wasn't the only reason for Ron Weasley's and all the boys' delight at the Yule Ball. Do you remember the impressive entrance of the Beauxbaton students with their cool blue uniform? I draped them in the most sensual and feminine fabric I could find. A delicate silk in the blue colour of the French flag. The fabric clings to their form in complete contrast to the restrictive uniforms the Hogwarts girls wear, Jenny Tamim told Cosmo. The cherry on top, the elegant hats the Beauxbaton students wore were created by the famous Irish hat designer Philip Treacy. Yes, that's the genius behind the looks of Lady Gaga, Madonna, Sarah Jessica Parker, and a bunch of other celebrities. Jenny Tamim was especially excited to work with the French actress Clémence Posey, or Fleur de la Cour, champion of the Triwizard Tournament and the future wife of Bill Weasley. Oh, and that organza wedding dress she made for her afterwards? It even left Michelle Obama speechless. When she visited the studio with her children, Delacour's wedding dress was on set and Michelle couldn't help saying, "This is so beautiful. I wish I would have gotten married in that dress." Who doesn't? Jenny decorated it with a pair of phoenixes that face each other on the bodice and form the silhouette of a heart. Why phoenixes? They are as eternal as love. The vintage nightmare. Not everyone got what they wanted to wear to the Yule Ball.
Murder me, Harry.
Ron's sense of fashion has always been a thing. Those horrid robes made him look like his great-aunt Tessie with the lacy, ruffled brown collar. They looked much older than everyone else's robes. The costume fairy Jenny Tamim did that on purpose. Ron was always looking like a disaster because he had to look like a disaster. He was fine with it. Jenny promised that one day she'd design something that looked good on him. Ron actually is rather dashing in the coat and tie he wears at his brother's wedding. Even though he didn't get to wear the outfit for very long since he needed to escape a Death Eater attack with Hermione and Harry, we saw that he cleans up nicely. Shades of pink. For Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, one particular character's wardrobe stood out.
She would be able to, in a way, pinkify the whole of Hogwarts.
Dolores Umbridge's shade of pink is irritating even for those who love the colour. It makes your eyes hurt and your skin crawl, so it's impossible to look at the evil bureaucrat of the Ministry of Magic. In the midst of all this eye-popping splendour, many people fail to notice that Umbridge's outfits actually change over the course of the film, from just pink to unbearably pink. It started with lighter pink, and then as the film developed, the pinks are getting hotter and hotter and hotter because she's getting more and more hysterical, the designer added. Jenny Tamim had a clear vision for Umbridge's look. The goal was to hide Imelda Staunton's legs as much as possible, making her visually shorter. Choosing boxy-shaped outfits and extra padding was essential to emphasize her character's dumpiness. All that gave her a specific Daisy Duck-like walk. Just recall the scene where the Weasley twins' firework dragon chases Umbridge out of the Great Hall. Glittery Alien. Let's talk about positively eccentric characters. It's impossible to imagine Luna Lovegood without her outfits. Jenny Tamim herself said she was happy to collaborate with the actress Ivana Lynch to make sure Luna's personality was taken care of. No wonder, she was the biggest Harry Potter fangirl on set. She knew everything about Harry Potter. They gave her extensions in hair and makeup, and she would go home and sleep in her extensions. She didn't want to take them off. She was really Luna, the designer recalls. Firstly, there was an alien Christmas tree dress. Both Jenny and Ivana were completely in love with its glittery material. Lynch also helped out with Tamim's final pick, the lion hat Luna wore to a Quidditch game. In the books, she makes herself a hat in the form of a lion, which growls loudly and looks quite lifelike. Well, the girl took it seriously and spent a lot of her free time with the costume designer bringing that idea to life. I made earrings for her that were red radishes, and she insisted that they had to be orange. That's how well she knew the character, Tamim told Movie Magic. Indeed, we know Lynch even wrote Harry Potter fanfiction before being cast as Luna. See guys, dedication pays off. Beloved baddies. However, what would the Harry Potter movies be without their unforgettable villains? Time to have a Voldemort talk. Have you ever noticed that his robes are 7 different shades of green? Slytherin green, to be precise. Do you see the link with the 7 Horcruxes? Indeed, colour is a technique that is never used in the film industry just for fun. There's always a story behind it. Here, it's a reflection of Voldemort's power. When he's at his height, his robe is very dark and is about half the length of a football pitch.
Look at Voldemort. He's walking around with 50 meters of silk, which will be impossible for anybody to carry. He makes it work.
Ralph Fiennes himself saw his character with the elements of smoke, being a ghost, and the costume designers listened to him. Hence, as a Horcrux disappears and the Dark Lord loses parts of his soul, parts of his power, his colours start to fade. Another enigmatic baddie? Alright, what comes to mind when you think of the world's most dangerous witch? The leather? The corset? The lace-up? The colour black? Bellatrix had it all. After 14 years in Azkaban, her style was spectacular. The corset was never tight enough for Helena Bonham Carter though. She wanted to feel the tightness and the craziness.
My idea was that from about 6 feet she looks actually quite attractive, but then from a foot it all falls apart.
After all, this actress was practically born in a corset. She belongs in historic dramas. Bellatrix's outfits combine Victorian and medieval details in honor of her wizarding family's ancient roots. We may hate her, but she dresses painfully cool. Pranksters on set. Despite all their sins, certain Harry Potter baddies were up for some fun. Let me remind you of Neville's grandmother Augusta Longbottom's vulture hat. More specifically, the scene where Neville dressed as Professor Snape Bogart in Augusta's clothes. You may wonder what the costume designer said to Alan Rickman to convince him to wear this outfit. Well, nothing. When dressed as Neville's grandmother, Alan Rickman got right into character, calling out, "Hello, love," to all who passed him in his dress, as did his body double. He took it in stride. Alan Rickman was more than likely the biggest prankster on set. He once put a dang fart machine in Harry's sleeping bag. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you want to find out more about Alan Rickman, check out our video tribute to this great actor who brought Severus Snape to life. And as always, stay awesome.